Perfect. Yay. Okay, I am very excited about this talk today. I've actually been wanting to share this for a very long time, and I think that it's actually very crucial, especially if you are a female athlete. There's a lot of different things out there that are being recommended, especially to endurance athletes, that personally I don't really recommend and I don't resonate with. So today I'm going to share a little bit about my functional medicine background, a little bit about what functional medicine is, and I'm also going to share about my experience and also what I did in my own practice to use myself. I don't want to say as the guinea pig, but as the test subject that I was able to improve my athletic career by doing that. All right, with that in mind, I'm actually going to introduce myself. Hello, I am Drew Mulvey. I'm a certified dietitian nutritionist. I am a certified LEAP therapist, so that's a specific food sensitivity test based off of MRT testing. So that's media release testing. It's about 92% accurate and specific. It actually allots a numerical value to how sensitive you are to that particular food. It's been beneficial for migraines, for any sort of inflammatory issues, and even IBS, and particularly athletic performance, which is one of the modalities that I did use in my as a functional medicine tool. I'm also a certified personal trainer, and I am a board certified nutrition specialist on top of a precision nutrition level 1 coach. So that's more sports nutrition on a holistic approach to actual nutrition. So with that in mind, I'm going to start. So how did I get introduced to functional medicine? Well, I got my master's degree from the University of Bridgeport in human nutrition with a functional medicine emphasis on it. That emphasizes looking at the whole entire body. It's a mind, body, spirit type of approach. You get to the root cause of the problem, and you can actually find deficiencies or depletions before they become deficiencies through a bunch of different testing, lifestyle changes, and also getting to the root of the problem. I absolutely fell in love with this model, and I couldn't wait till I graduated to be able to implement that into my practice. But interestingly enough, from there, let's backtrack. What got me into the nutrition program in the first place? Well, I've shared about this. I've had several health battles during my life. I had fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome, a candida buildup, on top of another autoimmune condition where my natural killer cells were attacking themselves. I was only 20 years old, and that was during the time when I was a D1 diver. I had an athletic career as a college athlete, and that significantly impaired my athletic career. In fact, I didn't really recover fully my athletic career from that. From there, I had several other things. I did have disordered eating patterns. I did have several reproductive issues. I had an endometrioma. I had dysmenorrhea. I did have amenorrhea for a bit. So my 20s was really a whirlwind. And then I got into this program and I started to seek alternative care. So naturopathic care, acupuncture, using traditional Chinese medicine and functional nutrition. So specific components of food that go beyond just the health benefits. And by incorporating all those things, it had significantly helped me. Now, I had also been introduced to supplements and alternative testing when I had been diagnosed with fibromyalgia and chronic fatigue syndrome. So that was just the beginning of it. Now, with that in mind, I've been following several functional medicine practitioners on Instagram, and I thought, why not try one of their programs? Just recently with my health, I know what fibromyalgia feels like, and I started to feel some of those symptoms coming back up. I started to feel the fatigue again. I started to feel the joint pain again. I started to feel the lethargy and the brain fog again. And I knew at that point I might have needed a little help, even though I was doing everything in my power that I thought I was doing right. So from there, I actually sought out one of the best. I am not going to name names, but I sought out one of the best. And it actually revealed that I had a lot of inflammation in my body after a test that they ran and after a little consult. Needless to say, I signed up for a program with them and I knew immediately that I could not do it. Now, one of the things that functional medicine tends to put an emphasis on is low carbohydrate and keto and fasting. This particular protocol had a lot of that. And it was also with taking away certain foods too. So it was definitely a paleo autoimmune protocol. So that's basically taking away gluten, dairy, soy, eggs, the beans, grains, nightshade vegetables. So there were a lot of things that I couldn't eat, and and even the first week or first month, excuse me, no fruits. So it was very low carbohydrate. I thought, all right, you know what? I'm going to try this because it is the functional medicine approach. Needless to say, it did not work. Carbohydrates are essential for a female athlete. And I found out that fasting for those amounts of times was not beneficial for me. I remember the day that I went into the gym and I crashed. So I was trying to figure out how to have my nutrition around my performance and around my training as I normally do. So I was drinking bone broth before I had gone to the gym, because normally what I do is I have a little protein shake. So just a little protein powder with like a little bit of chocolate, and I'm fine with that, because protein actually helps to decrease cortisol levels too, which can have a significant impact on your training performance. I thought I would be okay. Needless to say, I was not okay. And the promised results from that program, the energy, the less brain fog, all of that, actually, it got worse with me. So needless to say, the low carb approach and the fasting approach does not work for everybody, let alone it does not necessarily work for the female athlete. So what did I do? Well, let's go back to what functional medicine actually is. So functional medicine, it's looking at the biology of the person, the lifestyle of the person, and it's evidence-based scientific research that is all encompassed to empower the individual and to get to the root cause of the individual. So that would be alternative testing, such as some of the functional medicines tests that I have, hormone testing, heavy metal testing, any sort of detoxification testing. I particularly really like organic acids testing. So getting to the root instead of just your typical blood sample analysis that you would go for your yearly PCP, to your yearly primary care doctor. So from there, I had to stop the program. It was not catered to an athlete at all. And I have noticed that. And I actually just recently was talking to somebody and they felt the same exact way, that you need to program things in a way that is conducive to the individual, particularly one that is training and an athlete that is training, so that they're able to maintain their athletic performance. So what exactly did I do during that time? Well, I started to incorporate more carbohydrates. My body had gotten so depleted, I actually had to incorporate a full-on protein shake before I was working out in the morning. So not just protein powder, it was protein plus a vegetable, plus a fat, plus a carbohydrate, and then doing the same exact thing after my workout as well, making sure that I wasn't fasting for long periods of time. I found that now I have a 12 or 14 hour max time window, and then I start really shaking. After that time, actually, I had to sometimes decrease that time frame because of how much depleted my body had gotten. I was increasing the carbohydrates. So I did stick to that a little bit. I did have the fruits and the vegetables that they recommended. I did stay away from the nightshades. I did stay away from the grains and the beans for a while. But then I started to incorporate oatmeal back in, and I felt 10 times better. And now what else did I start doing? I ran an organic acids test on myself. So originally I had done a food sensitivity test, so I knew some of the foods that I was having issues with, and that definitely did help. In fact, I was able to have gluten and dairy after that, which I had not been able to have for a long period of time. So that test really does work. It's that mediator release testing, the LEAP protocol. It is great. I highly recommend it. And I've gone through it, so I know the experience and I know how beneficial it can be for you. Actually, taking away the offending foods can help with the lining of your gut and the integrity of your gut, which can prevent leaky gut, which proteins actually escape through your intestines, and that can cause a lot of joint pain, brain fog, lethargy. It can really significantly impair your athletic performance. So by incorporating that, that can really help you to recover from your workouts and really gain that competitive edge, or even that health edge, and staying healthy for longevity for your sport. Super important. So with the knowledge of that and running the organic acids test, I actually found that I was high in oxalates. Now, oxalates are compounds in specific foods that when they react with calcium, they can create kidney stones. It's not just kidney stones that they can create. Those oxalates, if you're not clearing them out properly, can actually lodge in other places in your body. They can lodge in your joints, they can lodge in other organs, they can lodge in your brain, and they can lodge in your adrenals. So I was feeling really lethargic. I was still getting joint pain, and I was really crashing. As soon as I took those out, as soon as also I started to incorporate some supplements from what that test had revealed, it had revealed to me that I wasn't producing dopamine properly. I was not handling stress very well at all. And so I had to incorporate some supplements to be able to calm my system down a little bit. So adaptogens, particularly tyrosine, and that actually helps with the production of noradrenaline and adrenaline, which when your body is so under stress, your body's using up the noradrenaline and adrenaline that sometimes you need it to be repleted. So everything comes into a nice, it's called homeostasis. So basically all the processes are working the way that they should, at the rate that they should. What else came up on that test? I was not oxidizing fat properly to generate energy, and I wasn't generating energy properly as well. So incorporating those supplements in, changing up my diet, incorporating more carbohydrates into my diet, still very nutrient dense. I still had good, clean proteins. I still had, a lot of good, as I was saying, fruits and vegetables, and a lot of good fats too. So that was really heavy on the fats. And I did not feel that that was giving me energy whatsoever. So obviously that test was showing that my fats were not being converted to energy. So how is it that I can incorporate a lot of fat when it's not even getting transferred to energy per se? So with that in mind, everything put together, I improved significantly. It was overnight. It was literally a 180-degree turn. I went from feeling like I was crashing to feeling like I was on top of the world. Granted, I did have COVID back in January, and that did significantly impact me, and to the point where I really was trying to recover my energy. I was trying to recover my brain function too. So I remember the day I went to the gym and I had energy, and I was able to bike ride. I was able to lift again. I still had that protein shake before and after. I was incorporating oats, and my body absolutely loves oats. And how did I know that? Because when my food sensitivity test, that came up one of the lowest grains. So I was doing fine with that. I was able to incorporate a little bit of gluten and dairy. So one of the things that I have had issues with in the past is disordered eating patterns. So to get too far into a rigid routine for me, if I don't need to be, can put me in a bad place. And I know that from experience. So I was able to incorporate a little gluten, a little bit of dairy from time to time, and I did okay with it. So mentally, emotionally, physically, I was really nourishing my body. And that's what functional medicine is all about, is taking an individualized approach. The approach that I took before, it was not individualized. I'm not even really fasting much anymore. It's between 12 and 14 hours. Actually, this morning I went a little longer than 14 hours, and I did start to feel that shaking. So my body's responding to me, and your body's going to start responding to you. So really, what do you need as an athlete? You need the proper nutrition to be able to fuel your athletic lifestyle. You need carbohydrates. Yes, you need carbohydrates. Those are incredibly important. In fact, in a recent study, I am going to read from this because this is very crucial. And I just wrote it down today because I wanted to emphasize this. So check this out. So carbohydrates are incredibly important for decreasing cortisol levels, and they're also our main energy source as well. But listen to this. This is a quote from one of the recent articles that I was reading. And I'm just going to move this aside so I can read this to you. Reduced carbohydrate availability is detrimental to exercise performance in two ways. Reduced muscle glycogen leads to fatigue and a drop in intensity. So glycogen on your muscles, that's basically the sugars that feed your muscles so that you're able to maintain your activity. You need to replete that after about 90 minutes of steady state cardio or intense like 30 to 60 minutes. It's usually 60 minutes that you need to replete it so that you don't crash, and it's good for recovery. And it's number two, reduced circulating carbohydrate, i.e. blood glucose for central neural nourishment, and impairs cognition. So if you are not getting enough carbohydrate, you are not thinking properly. That's where the brain fog came in for me, let alone if you're on the field and you're trying to make decisions, it's going to be significantly impair your cognition. So what's going to be really important? Having complex meals, incorporating whole foods, nutrient dense foods. And yes, you can incorporate things from time to time, but if with a food sensitivity test, actually you're able to kind of see what things work for you and what things don't work for you so that you can decrease that inflammation and improve your recovery. And it's only temporary. I have to emphasize, it's only temporary. You have to make sure that you're getting proteins, fats, carbohydrates, fruits and vegetables, making sure that you're getting enough calories, and you don't have to be fasting all the time. In fact, a lot of those articles have been done on males and not on females. And actually being in a low calorie state can actually have an impact on your bone density even after one bit. In fact, in this very same article, very interestingly enough, I was reading about what exactly you do need, how many calories you need for your individualized sport. And they were saying that under 30 grams, I believe, of 30 calories per kilogram for the athlete was significantly impaired their bone growth, their metabolic ways, so their metabolism, and also their hormones too. What they were finding is about 45 calories per kilogram worked pretty well for the individual for athletic performance. And then if you wanted muscle hypertrophy or any sort of like maximal strength, so that would be bodybuilding, about greater than 45 kilocalories, or they say kilocalories, but calories per kilogram. So that's per kilogram. And also for protein is going to be super important as well. Granted, yes, this protocol did emphasize a lot of clean proteins, but I was eating so much fish. It also emphasized souping all the time. I mean, I understood the concept of this because souping, bone broth, can be very, very good for your gut, and it does start in the gut. But there's several other ways that you can heal your gut. Having a variety of food helps to diversify the microbiota in your gut, and that makes you less likely to get sick from any sort of pathogens that come in. They produce digestive enzymes, so they're digesting things and assimilating things properly. They produce vitamins such as biotin, so that helps with their hair, skin, and nails. And also they produce short chain fatty acids, which helps with the integrity of the lining of your gut. As I was saying before, if you have leaky gut, those proteins can escape and then they can lodge in your joints or they can lodge in other places. So very, very important that you have your microbiome set and you're incorporating foods that help to support also that whole gut. So coconut is very good for really soothing and coating the intestinal lining. Chia seeds, flax seeds, they're mucilaginous, very coating, very soothing. Glutamine in particular, that actually feeds the enterocytes in your intestines. So that could be found in bone broth. That's a great thing to be adding in. So again, there are several other things that you can do, and it's an individualized approach that you need. So what's functional medicine? Looking at the person as a whole, lifestyle factors, biological factors, and then applying evidence-based research to those different factors, getting to the root cause of the problem and promoting longevity in their sport and in their health. That's what it's all about. Unfortunately, I did not get that from the functional medicine program. So with mine, as you can see, did I recommend a lot of fasting? No, I didn't. I really recommended fueling around your workout so that you decrease cortisol levels. In fact, when you're fasting for long periods of time, your cortisol levels really do increase. So that's really important that when you have a meal, to have a little bit of protein, a little bit of carbohydrate in there. The protein actually helps to slow down the release of glucose into the blood. So if you're fasting for that amount of time, you don't want to have like sugar right away. It's just going to give you an insulin spike. And that can actually affect your heart rhythm. So just be careful with that. Having that complex meal, so that could be protein and carbohydrate, so that would be a nice steady release of glucose into the blood, or you can even add a little bit of fat in there too. With that, I did not recommend low carbohydrate because I was just saying, as I just read, that it impairs your cognition and it can significantly impair your training as well. Plus, since carbohydrates help decrease cortisol, it will also help with the production of estrogen and progesterone. So what happens is when cortisol is being produced, estrogen and progesterone go down. And you actually need those for several other factors, or actually several other processes in your body, not just reproductive function, but you need progesterone for dopamine production and you need estrogen for serotonin production. So that's for your mood. You need estrogen for your bones, for your heart rhythm, and also for regulating cholesterol levels as well. So it's super, super important that you have a nice balanced diet, that you're getting the calories that you need. Again, that recent study had showed about 45 kilocalories per kilogram for your sport. That was ideal. It might be, but it's individualized for the actual person. And checking out what foods you might be sensitive to and incorporating them into an individualized plan. Also, lifestyle factors. Yes, this program, they did touch base on that a little bit, but it was more like yoga, very soothing things. Yes, you can incorporate those in, but really you need to be training and you need to have something that's going to be supporting your training. So that's where I felt like functional medicine failed me, is that it did not address that. And it was too heavy on the fats, too heavy on the fasting. So it's an individualized approach. That's what I'm going to give you today. And I hope that you got a lot from this. If this has really resonated with you, I would absolutely love to talk with you. I actually work with athletic females between the ages of 15 and 38. I help to improve their gut health, to balance their hormones, to help with prevent or manage their symptoms of autoimmunity. And also I really help you to repair your relationship with food as well. So you don't feel like you're in this rigid sort of pattern that creates unhealthy mindsets around food. I don't like that fear around food. If something needs to be done, then it's just going to be temporary, but we incorporate it into a plan for maximal athletic ability. So if that is you, I would absolutely love to speak with you. There is a link in my bio for the icebreaker call. Please make sure that you do click on that. Also, I have a masterclass, female hormonal health and wellness of the female athlete. If you want to check that out, please hop on over to my website, redeeminglifenutrition.com, and sign up for that. You're going to get a lot of good nuggets out of that. If you are a female athlete, you want to keep your hormones balanced, because hormones are going to also be responsible for your energy output as well. With that in mind, I think I'm going to close it up. Thank you so much for attending today. Again, my name is Drew Malthy. I'm a certified dietitian nutritionist. I'm a board certified nutrition specialist. I'm a certified LEAP therapist, which is a food sensitivity protocol based off of mediator release testing. It's 92% accurate and specific, and it allots a numerical value to how sensitive you are to that particular food. It is much more accurate than just an IgG test, because IgG can actually be elevated in an anti-inflammatory way too. So you need to get a test where it's actually measuring for more than just the IgG and other mediators. So it really gives you a better picture of what you are sensitive to. I'm also a Precision Nutrition Level 1 coach, and I am a certified personal trainer. I actually train here at Body Physics in Southbury. So if you want to stop by, get your free assessment and get the whole kit and caboodle, you got the fitness and you've got the nutrition in there too, come and see me. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for attending. And I am really glad that I finally got to share my story on this. I know the frustration. If you are frustrated, let's talk, because I've been there, and let's do this together. All right, everybody, take care. Bye-bye.